Good morning, students. I am Dr.R.Suganya, Department of Computer Science with Cybersecurity. Today we are going to see about the smart objects and sensor networks. Smart objects. Smart objects are quite simply the building blocks of IoT. So, smart objects in IoT comes from being networked together rather than being isolated as standalone objects. This ability to communicate over a network has a multiplicative effect and allows for every sophisticated correlation and interactions between disparate smart objects. Smart objects definition. So, the term smart object, despite some semantic differences, is often used interchangeably with terms such as smart sensor, smart device, IoT device, intelligent device, thing, smart thing, intelligent node, intelligent thing, ubiquitous thing, and intelligent product. So, a smart object is a device that has at a minimum the following four defining characteristics. First is the processing unit, the second is sensor or actuator, communication device, and power source. So, these are the thing that defines a smart object. Processing unit. A smart object has some type of processing unit for acquiring data, processing and analyzing sensing information received by the sensors, coordinating control signals to any actuators, and also for controlling a variety of functions on the smart objects, including the communications and power systems. The most common is a microcontroller because of its small form factor, flexibility, programming simplicity, ubiquity, low power consumptions, and low cost. Sensors or actuators. A smart object is capable of interacting with physical world through sensors and actuators. So, as described in previous section, sensor learns and measures its environment, whereas an actuator is able to produce some change in the physical world. So, a smart object does not need to contain both sensors and actuators. In fact, a smart objects can contain one or multiple sensors or actuators depending upon the application. So, what is about the communication device? So, it is responsible for connecting a smart object with other smart objects and the outside world through the network. Today, we know that there are many things with IoT devices for planting, for agriculture, that is for agriculture, for home devices, for organizations, for airports. So, in every domain, so we use sensors, we use actuators. Okay, so communication devices for smart objects can be either wired or wireless. There are different communication protocols for smart objects. Power source. So the main thing, the smart objects have components that needs to be powered. So it has to come with a unit. So here we have some uh, the device which has some characteristics like tiny low cost computer that is embedded into objects to make them smart. It can be organized to networks, and we have one sensor that can measure physical data, that is temperature, vibrations, pollutions, all that. And we have an actuator that capable of performing a task, changing the traffic lights to rotate a mirror. Okay, and a communication device which receives instructions, sends or routes data. This is self-organized into networks. Okay, so this is a power source. Next is about trends in smart objects. So we have smart objects very small, not even visible to the naked eye. This reduced size makes smart objects easier to embed in every day objects. So power consumption is decreasing because our different hardware components will consume only less power. So here we have sensors which is of passive, and processing power is increasing. Processors are continually getting more powerful and smaller, and this is a key advancement for smart objects as they become increasingly complex and connected. Communication capabilities are improving. It's no big surprise that wireless speeds are continually increasing, but they are also increasing in range. So, IoT is driving the development of more and more specialized communication protocols. covering a greater diversity of use cases and environments. Communication is being increasingly standardized. There is a strong push in the industry to develop open standards for IoT communication protocol. In addition, there are more and more open source efforts to advance IoT. Okay, so there are some keywords, smart objects for defining characteristics we have seen, and we have seen the trend smart objects. The summary, and there are multiple choice questions that you can answer. Next, about sensor networks. That is, we say about SANET, the sensor actuator network. It is capable of communicating with the network, that is in a productive manner. So it is sensors and actuators are heterogeneous and resource cool the home. So we have few advantages like greater deployment flexibility, simpler scaling, lower implementation cost, easier long-term maintenance, effortless, better equipment handle. And disadvantages potentially less secure, and it is typically lower transmission speeds. It has a greater level. Next is wireless sensor networks are made up of smart objects which are sometimes referred to as modes. So here it is very flexible. It can be deployed and very flexibly, and we have some design constraints with the wireless connected smart objects. As we have seen here, the narrowband media, which has 250 kbps, and loss communication, which has low memory and moderate CPU power. So there are some design constraints for wireless smart objects. So the following are some of the most significant limitations for smart objects in wireless sensor network, that is limited processing power, limited memory, lossy communication, limited transmission speed, and limited power. So if we have a various data aggregation in wireless sensor network, so event driven and periodic, so two communication patterns. Okay, and we have wireless sensors is evolved from single purpose. So it has WSN has multiple types of sensors also, and we have typical protocols, and we have some communication protocol to scale large number of nodes. Okay, so here we have the communication protocol for wireless sensor network, smart objects communication pattern. We have seen the limitations of smart objects, advantages and disadvantages of a wireless based solution, about modes, and about sensor actuator network. In summary,